I'm Ryan Milton from Team Flex, and today we're going to be taking a look at a fit model class in the NPC Worldwide Melbourne. So we're looking all the way down in Australia, some international competitions going on, and we're starting to see this new division fit model roll out more and more. I know a lot of you have questions. I know a lot of you are following along, trying to keep an idea of where this division is going to go and what it means ultimately for you. If you want to compete in it, you are competing in it, or you're aiming to be a fit model competitor in some degree, or just watch the sport, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today on this video. Let's get down to it. So fit model out in Melbourne here is looking a little bit different than some of what we've seen. This is our top three here for an open class, and basically what we have is Charlie here in first. We have Charlie again over here in second. How strange! I've literally got to get closer to make sure. Yeah, it's Charlie and Charlie. Two Charlies taking first and second here, and then Melissa over here taking third. So what you'll notice right away, if you've been following along with my content, is that, this tends to be a little bit more of a muscled look for fit model than we've seen. And that's very common with international competitions. If you don't know, stuff generally, meaning events, competitions generally look a bit different in the States. When you start getting international, you start getting different looks, right? We did a fit model class up at the CPA Canada last week, I believe, and, it looked a little bit different than the stuff that's been going on in the States. Well, down here, Melbourne, they're doing, their own look too. So that basically just has a lot to do with the competitors that show up. As I've stated, fit model right now, wild, wild west. You'll see a lot of variances in physiques and things that are going on. So let's talk about this class though. Let's break this down and go over this criteria just a bit. So fit model is our throwback to, 10 years ago, what bikini division was. And that's what we should be seeing play out on these stages. We are seeing more and more competitions happen now, more and more competitors hitting. We are getting a better idea of, criteria. So our class winner here, Charlie, she basically has very little fullness and roundness to the delts. Again, this is being echoed in criteria. Seeing this across the board, you do not want to have the boulder shoulder look. You do not want to have big shoulders in this division. It will, not help you place. You will not do as well as you could. You would need to go to bikini. And I'm going to do a bikini review from this event too as well. So subscribe, hang out. You'll see that one. And it looks very, very different than fit model does. Okay. So, she has a little bit of that shoulder shape, but it's not too much. It's also not underdone. You don't want to have zero shoulders, but you don't want to have too much. If you have too much, it's going to look like bikini. You're going to have to go to bikini. The next biggest thing you want to focus on is that taper into the waist. So all athletes need to be looking for attaining this type of a look. So that means basically the smaller you can make your waist, the better, because that's going to enhance that tapered look. And some of that's going to be through posing. Some of it may be through specific abdominal practice work you're doing, breath work, transverse abdominis drills. I know I'm having my fit model competitors do that as part of a way to keep the waistline. And honestly, that's what I do with most competitors because, again, pretty much every division focuses on that tapered aesthetic in the waistline. Lower body wise, you should see the muscle, glute, and quads really in this front pose that match the upper body development. So down here in Melbourne, a little bit more muscle in the lower body than we've seen at some other events. We start to see that this athlete in first here has a bit more quad development. So, that's just a factor of this look for this division. It is pretty exclusive to what's going on down here. Haven't seen a lot of that other places, other competitions yet. Doesn't mean we won't. Keep in mind, this division is brand new. Things are rolling out, so as we go through criteria, it's more to give you an idea of how you can bring your best fit model look to stage, not necessarily say, oh, you need to look like Charlie here to be able to compete, you know what I'm saying? So that's just a good thing to take note of. Looking over here at our second place, Charlie, she definitely has a more muscled look than our first place, right? And she doesn't win the class. So that becomes, again, what I think is being echoed pretty much across the way here. You cannot be over muscled in fit model. Yes, maybe you can place in the top 5 right now because, again, divisions are small. Things like that will happen. But overall, you don't want to be pushing that size too much. And I think every time we see that a judge, judges, in other words, are placing a much smaller athlete over one that has much more muscle, that's a very clear message because that continues to happen every single event. Even if the event itself looks a bit more muscular, we do see that, again, play out at every single event where even more muscular athletes are still not winning these events. So For her, great overall look, very on par with what you would see in this criteria, this division right now. I wouldn't say her shoulders are overdone. She just has more muscle overall, right? You can just tell. Great taper into the waist and lower body, good overall size, symmetry here, but more muscular for sure than the first place winner here. And that's a big factor. I think it's, again, a clear message from judges, like, do not be pushing the muscle too much in Fit Model. Fit Model, really what it's becoming is all about shape, all about really, having the good solid muscle base, but not overdoing it. If you start to overdo it, you're going to look like bikini. And, judges and the organizations from the start made a very clear delineation that they want Fit Model and they want bikini. They do not want a blend. They do not want you going back and forth. You're not even allowed to, by the rules, compete in, both at the same event for that reason. So I think, again, every time we see these placings kind of shift that way, where the more muscle athletes place lower. Key indicator for all you Fit Model compares to not be bringing too much muscle, or you're going to have to go to bikini. It's just the way it will happen, and especially over time, okay? Like, as these classes fill out, when we start seeing, massive classes of Fit Model athletes across the board at every event, the bigger athletes definitely will be placing lower and lower in those groups. So let's look at Melissa now. Third place winner here. So Melissa, great overall structure, good shape here in the shoulders, tapers into the waist well, lower body seems to all be here. Maybe a little bit, too dominant in the lower body compared to the upper here. Keep in mind, Fit Model, old school bikini, still very much about symmetry, shape, proportion. You should be up and down, very symmetrical, creating that hourglass look. And our first place winner does that very well. Our second place winner has a good symmetry. She's just a little bit too big. And then our third place placing here, she basically, maybe it's just a little bit lower body heavy, right? But we don't know yet because we didn't get to the back post. So let's go there. It tells the full story every time. Okay, so first place winner, very symmetrical. I mean, you turn to the back, you see it right away. You also do need to note, again, not huge amounts of muscle, even in this class. It is a slight bit more muscular than what we've seen in Fit Model going around. She does have just a little bit of that shape to the shoulders. That's what you should see. Great taper into the midsection. That's what you should see. And lower body, very symmetrical grouping of glutes, upper glute overall, quads, and hamstrings. They all match. You'll notice no tie-in. That is key for the criteria. That is key for this division. Specifically in the notes, you do not want to show tie-in. If you show tie-in, indicator judges again that you are too lean. So, again, it's very, very shapely look, very Fit Model look right here. And then you'll notice as we move out the call out where the look starts to change a bit, those are the athletes that are not winning the class. Again, key markers from judges and criteria that you do not want to be too big or too lean in Fit Model division. So looking at Charlie over here taking second, a bit more of that shoulder look. We get it. She's still got a good taper. Everything's here. Lower body, though, does definitely carry more muscle overall. We can see it in the quad sweep, specifically on the outside. We start to see a tiny bit of a tie-in coming through here. That's a factor. We can even see some hamstring development. So overall, still a bit more muscular and placing second, which is nothing to scoff at. Don't get me wrong. But it is an indicator, right, that is a look that is not going to win you your class specifically at this event. And for those of you out there, the more muscle look that you have, it's probably not going to be an advantage for you in Fit Model. I think we're seeing that pretty consistently every single comp review I've done, which has been every Fit Model one that I can, where there's photos and things here. By the way, if you're watching and you're confused on anything I'm saying, you're like, I don't understand what he's talking about. This isn't making a lot of sense to me. What are my points that I need to focus on? How do I need to get that balance? Do my 7-day free coaching trial. It's free. It's totally free to you. You just go into the description, or you can literally grab your phone right now, type in teamfflex.com/7-day trial, and you just put your info in. You get invited in my online training platform where I'll train you free for 7 days. Same way that I am with any of my competitors, my clients, my Fit Model athletes. I can give you feedback on your physique. I can show you, exercises to do, how to structure your training, all of that for free. It's way more in depth and way better than just watching the YouTube. So if you watch these and you're like, I like this stuff, I'm learning things, I can teach you 100 times more in that trial for free. No obligation to sign up. You're not putting payment info. You don't automatically get charged. It's literally just me giving back to the bodybuilding community. All of you out there that have, supported me in my ability to do this for a living. So that's why I do it. Check that out for sure. Just do it right now. Even you can do it while you watch the video. No time extra for your day. Anything takes 2 seconds. All right. Okay, so Melissa over here, really what we can see, like I said, good overall shape. Everything's there. It all's showing well for this division. Bit lower body heavy though, right? And meaning that like her quads and her hamstrings look a bit over dominant compared to glutes. So not as much glute structure here. That symmetry in that lower body is still key. It's still what you got to have. So again, maybe another factor here. The most symmetrical in the top 3 right here is the one that won. So very clear, representation again from judges, from criteria, what you need to do. Symmetry, shape, fit model. That's it. Okay, say it with me. Symmetry, shape, fit model. All right, now let's take a look at our 4th and our 5th as they join the group here. So we have Tapering here, and then we have Brooke here, okay? And that's our 4th and our 5th in the lineup. So really good representation, again, where criteria goes when we get a bit lower. I'm going to leave our first place winner in the middle because that gives us the most accurate look here into, what the difference is. So as we go down into 4th, what we can see, with Tapering here is overall good shape. Everything's here. This looks good overall. Tapers in. Lower body wise, the muscle structure is definitely there. To me, she looks a little bit softer than the rest of this group from the front for sure. So a little bit, has a little bit more body fat. That may be a factor in this lineup. Also, her lower body does stand out to me to be just a tad asymmetrical looking from here. We'll get the full story when we go to the back, but our first place winner is a bit more symmetrical. She's also definitely a little bit leaner, so that's a factor here. This is where, again, you start to see all these differences play out. We're seeing this across the board with Fit Model where competition's looking different athletes bringing different things, some softer, some harder, some bigger, some not, and, the placings can go any which way depending on what the judges at the table want to decide and those athletes that are there, but there is very clear similarities that we can see across the board here. Because we look at our 5th place now, Brooke. So Brooke almost has the opposite. Brooke looks to be too lean. She's definitely the leanest out of this group, right? She does have the pretty on par shoulder shape here, maybe just a little bit more fullness to those shoulders. Good tapering at the waist. Lower body muscle is clear. It's there. She's just too lean. So that, again, is a little bit of an opposite factor where the top 3, we could see some clear differences, but with 4th and 5th, we see one that's maybe a tad too soft and one that's a little too hard. So again, wild west of Fit Model, but we do see playing out on these stages right in front of us live that, the athletes that are softer are not winning these classes. The athletes that are too lean are not winning these classes. And the athletes that are too big are not winning these classes. So you really do need to find your fit model criteria, which hopefully, if you've been watching the channel a while, you've been paying attention with me, you're learning a lot and you're applying that to your training because it will be key and critical for you to pull this off, especially in this first season of this division. All right, let's go to the back pose where we can get the full story again. So Tapering here, good shoulder shape for this division, not much. And then tapers in at the waist, everything's there. Lower body wise, she needs a little bit more muscle in the glutes probably and into the quads, even in the hamstrings, maybe a tad more muscle, but she is also the softest out of our top 5 group. So that is, I think, main factor for her. Probably needs a little bit more muscle and also just to tighten up a tad, which maybe the muscle itself would do that. Looking over here, clearly our leanest athlete on stage, Brooke. Overall good shape for this division, but just too lean. You can start seeing the tie-in that's specifically noted in this division. You do not want to have it. So that's going to be an automatic thing judges are going to note and they're going to pay attention to, and she's placing 5th in this group. So pretty clear indicator that leaner, more muscular look, not for this division, especially when you look at the first place winner compared to that. So overall, the most shape, the most symmetry, and the most balance tends to be winning on fit model stages without extreme conditioning, without being too lean, and obviously without being too soft. So that's really what you need to be honing in on for your fit model look as we continue to watch this division unfold. If you have questions, you have things you want to know, comment them. Let me know you're watching. I appreciate every single comment I get. I try to respond to them all. And we have a lot more coming. Like I said, I'll be doing bikini review here at this event. You do want to see that. If you're one of those that are on the fence, you're like, I don't know if I'm fit model or I'm bikini. Well, watch how bikini played out at this event and it'll blow your mind a bit. So make sure you check that out. Subscribe. That's coming. Thank you for watching. Coach Ryan is out.